Well, there we are. We're live, and I know what I've got to do. There we go.
Have you got sound?
There we go.
Have you got sound today? Have you?
Yes.
Oh, good grief. Always a worry, you know. It is a worry, you know. I worry a lot, Joe, Keith. I really do. In fact, I had a major worry this morning, I have to be honest with you. Because I wondered whether this company you mentioned briefly, Ofcom, God bless everyone there. You mentioned Ofcom, and I understood what was going on. I thought it might have been that they were objecting to the fact that you weren't wearing your hat, you see. Because I think it may have been rather a shock to the system. And it certainly shocked me this morning. And I had an immediate thought that I saw it, and I've referred to this in previous editions of this remarkable 10 minutes. I thought, you know, that man could earn a large slump of money being Winston Churchill. Now, we've been down that road before. And I thought, perfect. And I thought, even better, because I have an idea, plenty of Henty, I noted that. I had another idea today, and it is relevant. It'll involve talking about myself, but then we all know how good I am at doing that.
Absolutely.
Ask my son. But the thing is, you see, that I had a rather special day yesterday. Not today, unfortunately. And it revolves around, we were talking to your colleagues there, those lovely people. And they said, what year was it? Radio Bright Note, you see. And I said, well, 1968, which does seem a long time ago. I accept that. But the final program that I did for the BBC, the first one you mentioned kindly, the last one was on May the 1st, yesterday, 1987. And that, my good friend, and both of you out there, that lady in Pointings, yes, and the gentleman in Twittering, and the man in South Ruislip, who's a regular viewer, I happen to know that, and the woman possibly in Pasadena, or is it never mind. The thing is that was 37 years ago, and I thought I would celebrate that yesterday by introducing a character that appeared regularly in the program, and he's come along with me this morning.
Oh, wonderful.
I know.
Wonderful.
Well, this is very special. I can't tell you how special it is, because what I'm going to introduce briefly, because he is not normally up at this time of day, I'm going to introduce what was the world's, I think I can safely say this, the world's only radio mascot, WORM. Worm. And there he is.
Oh, all those years ago, how did he get up at 6 o'clock in the morning?
Well, it was worse than that. It was about 4 o'clock. What you don't, clearly you don't know very much about worms. That's true, isn't it? Oh, yes. Worms are normally up at that time anyway. So it was it was without any difficulty at all. I was the one who had difficulty getting up. But Whirly, his name is Whirly, by the way.
Right.
You like Whirly?
Oh, yeah.
You sure?
No, not really.
Not really. Why? I'm always tired. He's tired, you see, because it's past his bedtime.
Oh, yes.
But never mind. This is Whirly the Worm, and he was very popular. There was a little badge that members had. It was a nice badge, wasn't it? In metal.
Yeah.
It was in metal. And he appeared in a stage shirt one time. Oh, yes. And the children liked him. He's very friendly, not slimy at all. There we are. And there is Whirly the Worm.
Oh, it's not slimy. No.
Sorry, Whirly. Anyway, it seems strange. We go back to Peter Brough and Archie Andrews and what they call ventriloquism. This is probably not ventriloquism as such, is it? No. This is something beyond that, I would have said. But the point is that Whirly and I felt that if you could possibly say for me the immortal words, his finest hour. If you could say that, then I'll explain why in a moment. So if you could do that in your Churchillian voice, it would be very helpful. That would be good, Worley. Oh, delightful, yes.
His finest hour.
Oh. Ah! Brilliant. Well, now, the reason I said that is because the programme was only 1 hour long, you see. The BBC were very mean in those days. And they said, we can only afford you for about an hour, John. What can you do? I said, oh, you'd be surprised what we can do in an hour. I said, ask that man, Keith. Amazing what he can get up to in half an hour. I tell you that. No. So I said, yes, I'll do it all right. But can I play some music? Oh, yes, they said. As long as it's not too noisy, we don't want any of that ABBA. I said, no, it won't be ABBA. So we came to an agreement, and the programme, unfortunately, was quite successful because a lot of people, as we've discussed before, rather like the worm, they are up and about during the night, you see. And the trouble with that is that you don't get much sleep. And then if you've got a bit of a pain or an ache somewhere, or maybe you're a bit sad because something dreadful has happened, it's a bad time of day. So our little program with the worm, we had a mascot worm, we had a little chorus called the Early Bird Chorus, which we could all sing. And the final program, this is the point, which I'm now calling, I'm proud to say, I regard it as my final hour. Because wisely, knowing the BBC and the way that things get scrubbed and wiped off the face of the earth, I recorded the program and I've got it in here today. Worley, could you open the bag, please? Oh, all right. Could you get it out, please, Worley? Yeah, all right. That's it, isn't it? That's it. Oh, yeah, that's it. And what is that, Worley? That is the final Early Bird show from May the 1st, 1987. Now, sadly, Keith, I'm sure, with all the wonderful facilities you have here and your bottle of alcohol-free lager there in your hat, I doubt whether we could possibly play this today or on any occasion because it's music for a start.
And copyright.
And Ofcom would get very funny about music.
Yes.
So all I can do really is tell you that it's the happiest hour, I think, that I ever had on radio.
Right.
It was a joyous occasion, and that's why I mentioned it. Not because of me, but because of the music that was in it. So I thought I might just mention. Could I mention one or two of the?
You can, and not only that, but I am going to check the rules and regulations because I think they were allowed to play 2 minutes promotional of it without any copyright. But I'll check that this week, and next week we will have a revisit of this for 2 minutes. If that's okay.
Well, that would be very nice. Because,
yes. Oh, I would love that. I would love that.
Well, you would love it,
yes.
Above all else, because if anybody's feeling a little low, by the way, this is called a CD. Do you remember CDs? Yes. Have you got a CD at home, that lady in Poynings? She has, probably in a cupboard somewhere. Well, I do have some copies of this available, actually. So if anybody really wanted it and they were able to get in touch with either me via my Facebook page or obviously the wonderful, wonderful TV company here that we're so proud of, Mirador, get in touch with them and I could even probably let you have a copy of this. It's 1 hour of pure happiness at a time when in 1987, Keith, we needed happiness then. We need it even more now.
We do, indeed.
So I tell you what's one or two of the little tracks, and then we'll leave it at that. One of them was a thing called, well, it was a man called John Denver.
Oh,
lovely.
Died in an air crash.
Oh, he did, unfortunately. Yes.
I saw him in a movie called God.
Oh, yes, you did.
Absolutely. And that was a wonderful
movie.
Talent.
Yeah.
What a talented man. Yes.
John Denver opens the show with a thing called Country Roads, and it is wonderful. Then we have another man.
Country Roads.
That's it.
Yes.
Don't maybe next week, maybe with a little bit of luck. And then we went on to, we had Roy Orbison, Only the Lonely.
Oh, Only the Lonely.
Exactly. All right. And then even further, one record that I simply love, and it just sums everything up for me. And I think I've mentioned it before, because it is not only a song title, it's a philosophy. And I'm going to probably leave it at that, because I had Chrissie Hynde on the program. I had Little Richard on the program. I had, some remarkable people. In fact, the Carpenters. On top of the world. I'm sitting. On the top of the world. And the Carpenters are on it as well. You can see it's an amazing 1 hour. And the song that was sung by Niels Lofgren, and you can probably get it up on another system somewhere, it was called Shine Silently. Says it all. You could say that's what we do here on Mirador Television when the sound isn't on. We shine silently, but it is the most beautiful 3 minutes ever. And I can't listen to it without breaking up. So I don't think we'll play it. It is wonderful. And it's the message I have for everybody on this another dull morning. Don't worry about the weather. Forget the fact that the sun isn't shining. Shine silently wherever you are.
What a good philosophy.
Is that right,
Yeah.
Whirly? Yeah. You agree with that? Yeah. Well done. Well, there we are. Whirly, you can go back now into your basket, all right? But you're famous now, Whirly. I said you're famous. He's a bit deaf as well. And also, he's got his sight isn't quite what it used to be.
Right.
You know, a lot of worms can't see anything.
I mean, he was mature in 1968.
Oh, even very early indeed. And has survived so well. Formerly, when in Brighton, he lived in Preston Park, actually, which was okay. The trouble with living in Preston Park was that if he wanted to go anywhere else, he used to have to cross the London Road. And for a worm, that is dodgy.
Yes.
There have been a good number of he's not normally quite as flat as he appears at the moment.
Is that why they invented lollipop ladies?
It's one of the reasons why. There were others, of course. I mean, we've all had panda crossings, and we've all had zebra crossings. How about a worm crossing?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, if you go on the coast road towards Eastbourne, there's even a crossing there for certain animals. I think moles. Could it mean moles?
Oh, that could be.
I think there's a mole crossing.
And on the way to Opham, there used to be a toad crossing.
Toad crossing, that was it. Talking about toad, of course. In this pub, they play a game called Toad.
And do you know that Deck, our chief of staff, was, up until a week or two ago, the world champion?
My goodness me, let me tell you. Then I have someone who would like to take on the world champion. And that is my lovely lady wife. She, believe it or not, when she gets out there on the Toad Stadium, there is no one. I've never seen anyone quite so good. Just nonchalantly lobs. We think we better explain. You have to lob a weight into a very small hole. Sounds like a bit like Mirador Television. No, a little weight, and there's a hole in the middle of it and a lead slab on the top, and you have to hurl it from a distance. My wife, she can hurl it like dear oh dear, which is worrying, because if you can throw things like that, you can throw lots of things. And she can be very accurate, I'll have you know. So there we are. I mean, toad crossing, zebra crossing.
I think we should have a challenge match between your wife and Death.
Yes, I think.
And we should televise it.
We'll televise that as well. Ofcom wouldn't object to that. No, I should think not. My wife might, on the other hand. Well, for a start, she'd want paying, you see. I'm afraid, the Henty family these days very... Do you know, did I mention that I had a bottle of wine sent to me?
Yes, you did.
I did.
Yes, did you drink it?
I didn't drink it because I wasn't really sure. I thought it might have been either a well-wisher or someone who did not want to wish me. I thought, well, dodgy. So anyway.
I would be your taster.
I'll tell you what,
I will have a sip.
While we listen to the music, we listen to the music next week. You could probably do that. That was nice. No, I didn't open it, but we were puzzled. And we're very good. Lewis is full of people who are conservationists, you know, and everything has to go to the tip, which is right and proper. But if you've got cardboard, you must squash it flat before you take it to the tip. Now, that is a good tip from me. If you're in Lewis, dog owners especially, please note that if you have anything in cardboard, it needs to be squashed flat. Not like you, Whirly, squashed flat. Then you can slip it through the little chute where all the cardboard goes. Now, that is relevant because my wife, aware of this, of course, and ever conscientious, she decided that this bottle, which came in a bloody great cardboard box, she'd need to squash the cardboard box down, see? Squash it flat. In so doing, a message appeared somewhere hidden within the cardboard.
Ooh.
You don't believe me. You think I'm making this up. Worse, it was in a black.
I hope you're making it up. I think it's scripted on this program.
It's a good story, isn't it?
Yes,
it's a good story.
Carry on.
And it was in a black envelope. And I thought, well, that's rather ominous too. I mean, we all know you get rather sad messages. They're normally in sort of black line. I thought, I'm not going to open this. But it did say something quite nice, like cheerio or something, on the actual black envelope. So I opened it, and I'm just going to mention this because they did eventually explain to me themselves, you know, I did that little bit for ABBA and in the Dome,
Indeed.
And I was in the audience,
Yes.
and they filmed it. It was on BBC Two.
And interviewed you several times.
Several times, actually. And since then, many approaches. All rude ones, I have to say. So anyway, it turns out that I'm going to mention them because I think this was a nice gesture. And there are so many nasty gestures around these days. This was a nice one. And a dear lady called Rebecca at this company called Wise Owl, based in Leeds, she told me that they'd sent me this as a token of thanks for my contribution.
Oh, how wonderful.
So that's the end of the story. I now
know.
I know. A bottle of wine.
And it's not poisoned.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I will. I'll try. I'll maybe you can't really decant it, can you? You need to keep it in its original bottle.
I suppose. But you know, I've offered to be your taster.
Yes, I know.
To see whether it's poisoned, and I think Henry VIII is the last one to have that. So you've now been elevated to royal status.
Yes, well, we know why he did, because he had enemies, basically, didn't he?
Yes.
And I mean, surely that's not the only person. I think Prinny probably had something
to do
with that
Prinny
well. In Brighton.
Yes.
Oh, they were grand occasions in Brighton. That wonderful kitchen and dining area at the Royal Pavilion. Oh
yes.
Exceptional. Well,
because he used to stay at what was the Crown Hotel.
Did he now?
Yes.
Who did? Prinny did?
Yes.
Did he now?
Oh, yes.
I'm not surprised.
And they say that when he went up to the races,
yes,
it would mean
yes,
an extra 10 or 15,000 people going up.
Really?
To Revenue.
He was that, really, yes. Well, it was a special time. And of course, that was the time he liaised with, was it a Mrs. Herbert, I think?
Yeah, that's right.
Mrs. Herbert.
Yes, and he stayed with her one night at Southaven Grange.
No.
Yes.
Is there a plaque on the wall?
I think there was, but they took it off.
Did he really? That wasn't the time that he came down Keir Street on a horse.
Well, there were several times that he went down Keir Street. But he was mixed up with Baron Larde, who was an inveterate gambler and who was married to the mistress of a highwayman.
Good.
Yeah.
The way these goings on.
Oh, absolutely. In a tiny little quiet town like Lewis.
Unbelievable. And surely everybody must have known what was going on and spread the word. I know. Today, of course, you don't have people doing that sort of tittle-tattle. You switch on to Channel 5 and watch it as I couldn't watch it last night. There was a program about Cecil Parkinson, the MP, and the lady, of course, and the child. And I thought, well, I don't know whether we really want to go through all that, do we, for an hour and a half?
Is it that exciting?
What?
Is it that exciting?
Well, I wouldn't have thought so. I mean, Parkinson died actually himself in 2016. And I thought, well, it's probably just as well he's not around to see this sort of rubbish on television. Why do we need it?
Yes.
Tittle-tattle.
Absolutely.
We wouldn't indulge in tittle-tattle here. I mean, if I knew, for example, that you were misbehaving in some way, I'm not going to tell people here, am I?
No.
I mean, you pay me to keep it quiet, don't you, Keith?
Yes.
Oh.
But would you tell me?
I probably would, because I'm such an honest broker. I mean, that's my big problem. People have said to me before, John, you're far too honest. Honest John, you see. And my finest hour, I do like that. When I'm gone, I hope people will listen to this little program and enjoy it with tears pouring down their face. And I hope they'll say, John, that was his finest hour. That's the whole thing about it, really. Do you understand out there? You do. Oh, thank goodness for that. I thought I was talking to myself for a moment.
We would hope that you would last long enough to be able to enjoy your 100th birthday.
What? Keith, I said it before, you're wasted. You know, I came to that conclusion yesterday because there was an item, I couldn't believe this. It was on Tunbridge Wells television, as I called it. Great respect to South East BBC, but it's Tunbridge Wells and it's mainly Kent. And there was a woman there addressing children and encouraging children to be more forward and speak up in public and not to be shy, etc. And it was a very nice, moving little item. But the woman in front of this class, her claim to fame, and God bless her, was that she is the voice on various cartoon programs for children, including one, and I thought, oh, there's potential there, John. It was quite a well-known snail. And she was the voice of this snail. And I thought, I was wasted, really, because as we know, I can do a remarkable cat.
You can all sorts of voices.
Oh, and dogs. I mean, it was my first job ever for advertising was a dog who was advertising Long Life beer. I mentioned that too. Yes. So, I mean, you could earn a lot more money than you do here.
There's no future in emulating Churchill because I watched the Eagle has landed and the actor playing Churchill gets shot.
So he does. I think that was only in the film, though. Oh. Yes, he frequently played I can't remember his name, bless him, but he frequently, Churchill. Obviously, you're either ahead of your time or behind the time. Send your answers on a postcard to this address, Mirror Television, the Black Horse Pub, the main drag, and it's in Lewis. And people think it's not really in a pub, is it? It is. I've just been looking at the menu. Wonderful burgers. My goodness me. If you like burgers. Oh, dear. And it's all happening. There's a bus just gone past, which we can't show now, but it said, just go. Maybe that was a message from the viewers.
That's Ofcom rented the bus just for us. But we've replaced it.
Oh, yes.
With a bottle of beer.
Oh, yes.
But before you get too excited, I have to say it's non-alcoholic.
Oh, right. Well, there you are, Wordy. Take it away.
Yes.
I
will retrieve the hat.
Do you know, I'm sorry, but I nothing personal at all, but I think the hat is you. You know that, don't you?
Indeed.
I think we must be honest, and I'm far from honest in many directions, but in terms of hats, are we not agreed, everybody? What do you think there? Sorry, Brian, I didn't hear that. Oh, yes. You're still watching, are you, Brian? Yes. How are you? Okay. He's the man in South Ruislip, actually. Yes. I frequently mention him, and I jolly well should do, because he's a splendid man and does a lot. He might be able to help us with Mirador one day to do some advertising for us. That would be good.
That'd be good.
Yes. Because we need to tell the world a bit more.
We do.
That we're here.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
I mean, we're not isolated, not isolationists at all. We welcome other people. Keith frequently says, come along to the Black Horse and just see what's happening and say hello.
Yes.
I agree with that.
Well, I'm happy to say that the Chief of Staff is very happy because we ask people to come to the quiz night.
Oh, yes,
and they
right.
do.
They
jam pack it.
Absolutely. So, there's nothing like a quiz pub, I think or a pub quiz, one of the two. I mean, they're important, and pubs are important as well. It's not just the burgers and everything else. It's the whole essence, really, of community, which is another reason why it's right that we were formerly in the White Hart pub. How's that coming along? Do you know whether there's any progress in the White Hart? I've not seen much progress.
No, I've peered in through an open door.
Yes.
It all looks still ripped apart.
Oh, does it?
Yes. My guess is they said they thought August, but I think that they've revised.
August?
They revised now to probably in the new year.
Yeah, I know. People are always sort of over ambitious. I think we can safely say.
Always.
Unrealistic, aren't they? And then, surprise, surprise, they say, no, it's all mounted up and it's now going to cost another couple of million quid. And eventually, now the best example of that, of course, is in Manchester. This damn great new stadium, which can contain, I think, 26,000 people. I mean, think of all your viewers in one stadium.
Now, you and I will do something very special. Because we had the mayor on yesterday, Matthew Bird.
Wow, splendid man.
He's ending his mayoralty in a week, he said. But he has made his mission to save shellers. And I said on a daily basis, use save shellers.
I like it.
SS. John Henty says save shellers.
Well, we could even say SOS, which is save our shellers. Even better.
SOS.
You see, we devise these just instantly. You see, there we are, Brian. While you're there, if you could knock up something. By the way, Shelley's is a splendid listed hotel which has gone into decline for reasons that we can't mention. But it's a tragedy. They did a wonderful car park and then nobody ever parked in it. Wonderful grounds. We had a wedding reception there. I had beautiful Christmases there. There was a wonderful manager whose name was, I think, Richard, a Superman. And he moved on. And it now is in decline and it's terrible. And the mayor is absolutely right. Bless him. SOS. Save our Shelleys. Just along the road here, by the way, when you pop in to the Black Horse and go along, it's downhill, madam, if you're worried about hills. It's downhill on the left-hand side, and just have a look and think we must do something about that. And at the same time, too, you'll want me to say this, we must also organise Mr. Catlin's garden.
Actually, I have now threatened to go into the town hall. All I've got to do is get my mobility scooter down there on an hour that they're open.
Right.
And we will start.
1 hour?
Huh. Yeah, it's only open for an hour or 2 hours or something each day.
Well, the other thing is, of course, there is now a new office in the precinct. In Lewis, we don't just have a sort of paved area. We have a precinct. Oh, I'll see you in the precinct.
Yes.
Will you? Yes. And everybody sits outside, which is quite nice. But there is a council. I don't know about there's a council office there, you see.
Yes, it is.
And it's all painted mauve for some reason or other. Well,
yes.
You should do that, Keith.
Lewis is a historic town. You cannot walk anywhere without treading on a bit of history.
Quite right.
Other towns have magnificent town halls historically. Yeah. What do we have? We have shop fronts in the precinct.
Yeah. Well, that may be true, but historical and hysterical. I think that sums up Lewis perfectly. And if you haven't got a dog, madam, well, you can be excused, but you must have it written by someone else to explain. And cat owners, bit dodgy, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
There's a lady, couple of dogs going past at the moment, you see. I think people use dogs for a whole range of reasons, company above all else, I suppose, but also the ability to walk, isn't it? I mean,
Yes,
it's a good excuse to go for a walk, I suppose.
Absolutely.
In fact, there's a group of people, I think older people I noticed over the road there, and I think they're probably maybe they're going down to Shelley's, maybe they just heard what you said.
Could be. SOS.
SOS, Save Our Shelley's.
Yes.
There you are. Well, this has been fun, and thank you for allowing me to plug my own radio program, but I was proud of it, so why shouldn't I? Why shouldn't I?
Everybody was proud of it. It was a good radio program.
Well, it was, in fact, as it mentioned at the time, it prompted a petition to Mrs. Thatcher, who was then the Prime Minister, and she even bothered to reply, and to the effect that she didn't actually listen to the Early Bird Show, but she would put it through to her communications man. Guess what? I heard nothing.
Yeah.
I know, absolutely right. Yes, don't be fobbed off. That's a good word. Don't allow yourself, madam, to be fobbed off by anything or anybody. And by goodness, they do try. It's what the job's worth. You see, there are jobs worth everywhere. And they'll say, no, I'm sorry, you'll have to, could you fill this form in, please? Right, yeah, fill this form in, thank you. And then, it's officialdom gone bananas, I'll tell you what. I mean, fill in a form, what happens? I filled in a form recently, meticulously filled it in, handed it in, I've not heard a word since. Oh, well, we got the form now. Yeah, I know that. Well, what about it? Oh, well, I'm sorry, it's got to be administered. I see. So it goes to an administrator. Oh, yeah. That's another well-paid job, I imagine. Yeah. Administration. That's the thing. That gentleman, is he known to us? I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all happening here.
Yeah.
I don't know. Shall I go and see whether he wants to come in? I'll go round there. Because it's about time I went anyway, I heard someone say. Thank you, Brian. That was very rude. Keith?
Yes, I'm fine,
Yeah,
and we've had a fascinating morning. We had Philip Meredith on with his son Ollie, who is a fascinating musician whom I'm trying to attempt onto Meredith regularly. To attempt to do a concert because he's a renowned musician in Lewis, and all in all, that was a good solid hour. And now we've just had a fascinating 3/4 of an hour with John Henty, and this has all got to end in tears. Because it's my morning with my consultant for Parkinson's, and that's sad. I would prefer not to have Parkinson's, but I do. Oh, John, I was going through the Lewis magazine, the Louisian.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just telling people a little bit about things that were happening in this. Do you know that at the House of Friendship there is a Parkinson's choir?
No.
Yes. I'm going to go down and see them and see if I can get the lady conductress on.
Is that why you were asking about people singing a bit earlier on?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Parkinson's choir.
A Parkinson's choir.
What an amazing... Are you serious?
I'm serious. I mean, that betters Jeremy Paxman.
Oh.
Heading
Well, that's a breakthrough.
Yes.
Mind you, they do lots of good things at the House of Friendship.
Yes, they do.
Lovely lunches. Very nice lunches. And although some people may have their views about this, and I'm not prepared to discuss it at the moment, but they also a group of people who are called the Death Cafe. People who talk about death, but in a positive way.
Yeah.
In a positive way. And they meet there maybe every month. led by a very lovely lady whose name I won't mention. That's all at the House of Friendship.
Right.
So,
well, we almost set up there. When we had to move from the White House, but their room was being used for other things.
Oh yes. It's a very big.
But they are very nice people down there.
You can play billiards there, you know.
Oh, can you?
There's an enormous billiard table.
Wow,
Right.
That's terrific.
See, people don't know these things until they watch Mirador television.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
We are a font of knowledge.
By the way, I'm doing this just to show that I'm capable of standing up as well as sitting down.
Which is more than I am.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm standing on one leg. Isn't that? And I'm standing on the other leg as well.
He knows that I can't stand on two legs without falling over.
Well, exactly. But then the point is, when you got friends, that doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got friends. It doesn't matter.
Now, I am going to actually push one little thing along before we go.
Yeah.
And that is, I'm going to tell everybody that we are going to produce very shortly a half hour of Hayes and Henty, or Henty and Hayes.
Yes.
It should be, in which we're going to make this program more widely available.
Absolutely right. Yes. Well, I mean, the point is, you hear everywhere. Oh God, he's not back again. Somebody said you hear everywhere about this happy hour. I mean, they have them in pubs everywhere. So we are suggesting that we will provide, rather like the early bird show at that time, which was an hour long. We're suggesting that it will be Hayes and Henty's happy half hour.
That's it.
We don't want to push our luck. 30 minutes, you see. And if it is so successful and we get approaches from people like Channel 5, then we might extend it a bit beyond that, as long as they send us bottles of wine.
Yes.
Yes. Perhaps we could be paid in bottles of wine without the black envelope, though. Don't want a black envelope.
A bottle of wine a minute?
What?
A bottle of wine
Oh, I would love it. Me, I'd rather like Guinness, actually. Maybe we could be sponsored. Get in touch with those people in Dublin, the Guinness people, and say, listen, we're going to do this. It's going to be very popular. People around the world will be talking about Guinness and Lewis. I mean, if you want goodness and Guinness, we've got it.
Yes.
No.
You know, that's a slogan that has lasted for almost 6 years.
Goodness.
My goodness. That's right. It was a pelican.
Well, you need these SOS, you see. Save our Shelleys, right? Exactly. Our fighters are, you see, 3 little words like that. 3 little words. That's all I I must go, Keith. I've got so much to do. God, I'm so busy. I don't know really how to go. I don't know, one way or another.
Yeah, that's
do the shopping.
It is. I think you must take over, John, the catchword from Monolot.
What is
it's that? Being so cheerful that keeps me going.
Wonderful, absolutely. Well, it is.
Absolutely.
I mean, what other reason is there to keep going other than to be cheerful? That's
absolutely.
It. And it's very easy to be miserable. We all know that. Anyone can be miserable. Try being cheerful. And also remember to shine silently.
Shine silently. Bye-bye, John.
Bye-bye.
Oh dear! I look forward to this half hour each week with trembling limbs. I really do. Well, we've had an interesting morning, and we will be back tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. I'm not sure. I gave the staff a day off because I thought it was a public holiday. What we might do is a limited show tomorrow. But God bless you all. Either tomorrow or Monday. No, Monday. Tuesday. Oh, we've got 4 days possibly off. What will we do with ourselves? Incidentally, if my speech is beginning to deteriorate, I'm afraid one of the things that Parkinson's does is it dries your mouth out. And as a consequence, throughout the day, it does make it a bit difficult for people to understand me. And as somebody who has been a clear speaker all his life, it's another thing that if I last to 110, God help you, you won't be able to understand me one little bit. Let me do my thing, because the Chief of Staff is so good to us. Let me do my thing. The pub quiz, May the 12th, 8 o'clock. £2 to enter. A load of barrel of fun. Don't forget it. And the other thing is, Sunday roast at the Black Horse. Absolutely wonderful. The Sunday roast. Oh gosh. 2 vital activities at the Black Horse. I'm going to go now. Oh, that's been an exhausting morning. Toodle-pip.
From Lewis in the Black Horse Pub.